Yeah, very difficult start though. You know, if anyone ever gets the opportunity to come down here on this field, it's difficult enough to walk across, let alone play on. It's one of the most compact turfs I've seen in a long time, and it made for a very, very quick game and looked troublesome, underfooting for our guys early on. And you know, that goal within 6 minutes gave them a huge lift, of course. So, terrific recovery. That we put ourselves into a better spot. You know, worked hard to stay in the game and find some rhythm and actually controlled some good periods without really creating much. And I thought we got a little bit of luck for that with the deflection from Hany. And then, of course, the second half looked a very, very competitive affair. And, you know, that added bit of energy and bit of quality. Annabelle's interchange with Dax in the midfield and then finding Hany was splendid. And, you know, you'd back Hany to score that first time round, but that added pace of Jacobs has found us the, you know, the finishing touch of the game. So terrific 3 points.
Thank you, Coach. We're going to open the floor for questions. A reminder to everybody, alert me through either by using the hand raising button or the chat if you have a question for Coach. Tim, we'll kick it off.
Hey, other than the penalty, it seemed like you guys were kind of having a tough time breaking them down a little bit. You outpossessed them pretty significantly in the first half, but couldn't really get a ton of chances. Did you see anything that was maybe like a consistent reason behind that you know can clean up and take forward?
Yeah, I think the first thing is, Tim, this surface is so tough. The bounce of the ball, the ability to just control and compose yourself on this surface. Everyone struggled with their footing. It just wasn't easy, and you know the adaptation for everyone was very, very tough. But to your point, I think they dropped off a little bit more than maybe they would have done normally because they went a goal up too early. And maybe their third game in a week, there was, you know, a little bit of feeling in their minds if we could just contain this for a while. And to be honest, as you said, there were a few moments, maybe they felt comfortable, but, you know, that breakthrough to get the goal, again, changes the dynamic of the game. And I thought the second half was a little bit more open for sure.
Tim, feel free to ask a second question before we move on.
Okay, yeah, Gary, we ask you every time that there's a potentially questionable penalty called against you guys, or when the call doesn't go your way. What did you see on the penalty call that Jacob earned?
Yeah, like I said, I honestly thought when Hany got in on goal, as I'm watching it unfold, we're just waiting for VAR for the offside. You know, it felt that assured with him running in on goal. So I was, in that split second, I was a little bit gobsmacked that he didn't finish it off. But obviously, Jacob was far more alert than anyone else was. And as I said, you know, that change of pace that he's got can be so difficult for defenders. The ball's obviously bounced off at a difficult angle. They're both racing towards it. Jacob's turn of pace has got in there just before. If you go to ground inside the area, you run the risk that if you don't get the ball, then you get what you got, which is, you know, somebody with his pace gets there before you. And I honestly thought it was an out-and-out penalty. I've not seen it again. I saw it very quickly on a monitor on the touchline, but somebody's going to have to do a really good job of convincing me otherwise.
Ben, go ahead with your 2 questions for the night.
Yeah, Gary, a similar question. Fafa looked like he had a pretty decent penalty shout in the first half, and clearly the players around him were calling for one. Did you get a chance to look at that, and what did you make of that, I guess, no call?
Yeah, are you talking about the one down by the dead ball line that he worked into I think he ended up in the side netting of the goal, if I'm remembering the right one. Well, again, we saw a replay of that. I think the big difference there, Ben, is, you know, yes, you do see penalties given for late challenges, but he's almost off the field. And I think if there's an opportunity for the officials to say, look, you know, he's really not out of control, but he's in a spot here where he's stretching for it. They're both going for the ball. Yes, the lad gets there before him, but he's almost off the field. Look, again, if he'd have given it, I'm not sure VAR would have overturned it, but he obviously decided at that point. I guess the question is, did that play into the decision late on? If he felt as though that one early on in the game might have been a penalty and he didn't get it right, then maybe the one at the end there was an easy one for him to call, as it was so, I thought, so in his face in that final moment.
And then obviously Charlotte's one of the closer teams to you, just geographically. I know the league is trying to brand it a rivalry. The only other time you played them, they obviously got that big win in Charlotte last year. Did you, when you're preparing for a game like that, do you use that prior result where they beat you guys? Do you use that as motivation at all, or do you just kind of prepare for it like any other game?
A lot of preparations are very normal, Ben, but it would be remiss of me to not say to the group that we just didn't give a very good reflection of ourselves last time we were here. We conceded 4 goals. We looked very uncomfortable. They absolutely pressed the life out of us that day, and they played very well and deserved the victory. And I think everyone needed to understand in our group that apart from anything else today, we needed to give a good account. The way we've been playing recently, the form we've been in, it's not going to be good enough to come here on a difficult surface, and just buckle. And I obviously couldn't have expected the way that the game ended up, a goal in the last minute. But one thing is for sure, the guys rolled their sleeves up. They made life difficult. And in fact, for good portions of the game, they gave a very, very good account of themselves against a side, as you've just said, who I think were 4 wins on the spin. They're in terrific form, very, very confident, and we're coming to their patch. So not an easy encounter by any stretch. So an absolutely fantastic win to keep them, in a little bit at arm's length for this stage of the season.
Valer, go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, this game was very physical, and there were a lot of fouls on both sides. Do you feel as if this squad you have right now thrives in this sort of physical environment? And was there a certain gear that they reached today that you haven't seen before in terms of physicality specifically?
I think they raised themselves to the challenge. I said to them after the game, look, if we're going to do well in this league, as we all know, you've got to be adaptable. You've got to be able to show different qualities on different days against different teams. And today was one of those days where it wasn't going to be pure. It wasn't going to be, complete control for us. We were going to have to dig in, show some fortitude, and the guys did that. Now, that gets even more difficult, of course, when you concede after 6 minutes. And it was a scrappy goal. It was an horrible-looking goal that really should have been dealt with. So to come from behind, I think, for the first time this season and win in this environment against this confident team who have improved remarkably, by the way. They're a good side. They've got some terrific assets up front, especially some real talent. It shows an awful lot of character in this group. And, they've been very, very good at finding the right balance at the right time. Today was one of them where they needed to stand up to the challenge.
Any final questions?
Yeah, just one more on Hany Mukhtar. He's practically played 3 90-minute games in a span of 7 days, 8 days. Any concerns there, or is he in a good physical health at this moment?
If you ask Hany, he could probably play 3 games in the space of a day. He loves being out on the field. He thrives on the environment, on the pressure, on the intensity. There have been times before where I would have pulled him off. You would have seen that in the past. Maybe, put on a different forward because he has played that amount of time. But what he's looked like just recently is that he's still full of not just energy, but there's a spring in his stride. He's got that glint in his eye again. He sees that there's opportunities. He sees moments. Don't take me off. There could be a moment late on. I've often had that thrown at me as well. And I've got to tell you, I'm absolutely delighted I did today.
The first player in Nashville SC history to record 50 goals. Congratulations. Tell us about it.
Thank you so much. You know that for me, every goal counts, even if it's Open Cup or playoff goal. So for me personally, I have reached 50 goals long time ago last season. I posted it on my social media because I believe that every game, which is an official game, should count. But I'm very happy to score 50 regular season goals.
Thank you, Hany. We are going to open the floor for questions. We'll kick it off with Tim.
Yeah, Hany, I want to ask specifically about the second one. When Kalina makes the save on your play, obviously you probably think you don't have a chance to get the second goal of the match. Jacob earns the penalty and you get it. What was going through your mind as as the quick VAR check was going on and all that sort of stuff, and how I guess excited were you to get a second crack at that last goal there?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm demanding these balls from our central midfield players all the time, and I'm in their head all the time. And I remember in preseason, I told Godoy and Dax to play these balls out of the midfield. And what really went through my head was I feel so bad for Godoy because this was an unbelievable ball, and I'm always on his head. I'm like, hey, you have to play these balls. You have to play. Probably I annoy him so much, and then when he plays these balls, I have to score, and that. I felt so bad for him, but luckily that we got the penalty, and so next time I have to score for sure.
Tim, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, this is y'all's first come from behind victory of the season. How good does it feel to get that under your belt, and does it give you confidence that not only can you guys win the ways that you have when you're just pasting people, but also you can play from behind and get a more hard-fought victory?
No, I'm very proud of the boys. I think it was a very difficult environment. We have to give credit to Charlotte, how they play, and the fans, they support them amazing. It was really loud. I was surprised when they scored the first goal. I was like, wow, it's pretty loud. And yeah, I think we showed character, and that's what we have to be all the time. The game is 90 minutes. Of course, we want to start well, but even if we go behind in the first 15, 20 minutes, there's still enough time to change the game. And we changed. We showed it tonight. Was a good, for our mentality, a good game.
We are going to transition to Ben Wright.
Yeah, Hany, you guys are now unbeaten in the last 8 games. I mean, obviously a huge 3 points to pick up here. In the past, you've talked about wanting to be able to pick up results like these, rack up points during the middle part of the season, and really be able to challenge for supporter shields and for trophies. What does a win like this say about your ability to compete for trophies this season?
Yeah, I said to the boys before the game, I said, like, these are the games you can show that you're a top team or not. We know that it's a difficult surface. We are not used to artificial. That's their home ground, and they train on this surface. We know that it will be a very difficult game. And then we have to step up and we have to show, okay, even though it's hard, we need to come out of these games with 3 points. And I think we showed it. I remember probably last year or 2 years ago, these kind of games we would have lost or we would have drawn. And tonight we got the 3 point. That was our goal. And we have to move to the next one.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, and then for you personally, I mean, you're up to 14 combined goals and assists in the league at this point. I think if I'm doing the math right, it's your best start to a season yet. You've been putting up numbers like this for the past 3 years, but what about this year? Does anything feel different, or do you feel like you're just continuing what you did last year in 2021?
Honestly, I just see these stats and all that most of the time after I achieve that. I am not like, I only concentrate in the next performance. It's always good and good to know, and it gives you confidence. But in the end, like I said, I think after 5 or 6 games, people ask me question. It's a very slow start for you and all that, and now all of a sudden, 13 games in, I have the best start ever for me personally. That's football. You should never lose your head, and even even if it goes well, you should stay humble and calm. And if it goes bad, you should believe in yourself. You know, I'm long enough in this business. I think this is my 11th season or 12th season professional soccer. So I know what it takes, and you know, you need to stay humble all the time and work hard. Of course, I forgot that. That's the most important in the end. You have to work hard every day.
Valer, go ahead with your two questions.
Yeah, Hany, I know Ben asked you about you personally, but as an attacking unit with the players you're playing with this year, obviously different than last year, different formation as well. What has changed, and do you feel like you have a little bit more room? Do you like this more, what's happening this year compared to last year?
Yeah, this year I play more as a playmaker in the diamond. I like it personally. I played in my old club as a 10 in the diamond. Gives you more freedom. You can come more towards the ball. You touch more balls. But in the end, I don't care where I play. You know, I want to be successful, and as long as I'm successful and the team is successful, you know, I play wherever.
And really quickly on, we saw you after the first half talking to the referees about the situation that happened towards the end there with the penalty. What did you see from that, and what were you saying? I guess what was the conversation there with the refs?
I just reminded him, you know, like especially Fafa is a player who get fouled a lot. You know, he has to protect him. You know, I think the ref did a good job. I'm not going on him or something. I just said in a calm tone. I said like, hey, like you need to protect our players. You know, I had the armband this game, so I feel responsible to tell to the ref that he has to protect all of our creative players.
One more question before we let you go, Hany. As we prepare to transition now into Miami on Tuesday in the U.S. Open Cup, how do you prepare? How does the team switch mentality and gears into that game?
I saw a couple of players and me. We were already in ice bath. We have to recover tomorrow, cryo or recovery boots. I think that's very important. And it will be. I mean, it's a quarterfinal. It's the fastest way to win the trophy, and we have to take that serious. It's a big opportunity for us. So we'll be very exciting. Tonight we can enjoy the victory, but from tomorrow on we full focus on our next game.